As longevity science accelerates, one of the most contentious and defining issues of the coming decades will not be scientific, but social. Who will have access to life extension technologies, and who will be left behind? While breakthroughs in senolytics, gene editing, cellular reprogramming, and neuroregeneration promise to extend human health span and delay age-related decline, their initial rollout is likely to be restricted to those who can afford high-cost therapies, potentially creating an era of deepened inequality where the wealthy live not only longer but stronger, healthier lives than the rest of society. Ethical and equity challenges will move from the periphery to the center of public discourse, transforming longevity from a biomedical achievement into a deeply political issue. Historically, all medical revolutions, vaccines, antibiotics, organ transplants, have followed a familiar pattern. High cost and exclusivity at first, followed by broader accessibility through mass production, regulation, and public health infrastructure. But longevity medicine is different. It promises to reshape the life course itself, extending not just years but vitality, productivity, and influence deep into what was once considered old age. If one segment of the population can afford to slow or even reverse aging while others face the traditional arc of decline, the result will not merely be inequality in health, but an entrenchment of social hierarchy that affects politics, labor markets, education, and intergenerational wealth accumulation. Imagine a scenario where billionaires, heads of corporations, and elites routinely undergo personalized gene therapies, receive monthly infusions of stem cells, have their biological clocks tracked in real time, and receive bespoke diets and pharmacological regimens guided by AI, while lower-income groups struggle with preventable age-related diseases like arthritis, dementia, and heart failure due to lack of access. The growing gap in physical and cognitive capacity could translate into longer working lives, extended influence, and more stable finances for the longevity elite, while others retire earlier, become dependent on underfunded social systems, and experience decades of frailty. This dystopian divergence is not hypothetical, it is already foreshadowed in existing health disparities. In wealthy nations like the United States, there is already a 10 to 15-year gap in health span between the richest and poorest quartiles. Longevity technologies could widen this chasm into a generational canyon, fueling resentment, social unrest, and possibly even intergenerational tension, as younger, less privileged individuals see an elite class monopolizing not only wealth and power, but time itself. To address this, public pressure will mount on governments to regulate the cost and accessibility of aging interventions. One likely outcome is the emergence of longevity equity policies, state-funded longevity clinics offering basic senolytic or NAD+ boosting therapies, subsidies for anti-aging pharmaceuticals proven safe and effective, and universal screening programs for early detection of biological aging. Countries with strong public health traditions, such as those in Scandinavia, Japan, and parts of Europe, may lead the way in ensuring that gains in longevity are equitably distributed, tying them to existing universal care systems. In parallel, we may see a new bioethical framework emerge, similar to how access to antiretrovirals became a global human rights issue in the fight against HIV. Access to age-slowing interventions may come to be seen as a basic right. Activist groups, academic ethicists, and patient advocates will likely push for international declarations asserting that no one should be denied the chance for a healthy old age based on income, geography, or race. The World Health Organization may play a role in coordinating global policy, creating benchmarks for equitable access to longevity therapies, especially in aging low-income countries. Private sector actors will also face pressure from consumers, investors, and regulators to ensure that life extension tools are not hoarded by elites. Biotech companies may be incentivized or required to adopt tiered pricing, invest in accessibility research, or funnel a percentage of revenue into public health initiatives. Emerging longevity as a service platforms could evolve to offer scalable, affordable protocols to the general public, especially if early interventions, like senolytics or microbiome modulation, prove cost-effective relative to end-stage chronic disease treatment. Yet, there are limits to how much equity can be engineered into a market-driven system. Even with regulation and subsidies, the early adopters will still enjoy compounded benefits. This reality will force society to confront uncomfortable philosophical questions. If aging can be slowed, should that become a civil right? Should public pensions or retirement ages be recalibrated for those undergoing anti-aging treatment? Should employers or insurers be allowed to discriminate based on biological age? Will age reversal be framed as a social good or a luxury? Ultimately, the promise of longevity raises a fundamental societal dilemma. Do we want a future where aging is optional only for the privileged, or one where the ability to live longer, healthier lives is extended to all? How we answer that question, through law, policy, and cultural consensus, will shape not just the science of aging, but the ethics of what it means to age in a just society. If handled with foresight and compassion, longevity science could become a tool of liberation, compressing suffering and extending dignity across class and culture. If mishandled, it could deepen inequality in ways the world has never before experienced, entrenching not just wealth gaps, but lifespan gaps into the fabric of modern life.